Here are your notes for Lesson 2.2. At this point in time, make sure you update your table of contents. Today we are going to be comparing and ordering rational numbers. And you will learn to compare and order positive and negative rational numbers written as fractions, decimals, and integers. To compare or order rational numbers, the first thing you need to do is write them in the same form. So change them all to fractions, change them all to decimals, whichever one is easier for you. Now, anytime you want to compare fractions, you need to find a common denominator. The book is suggesting that you find a least common denominator, which is the least common multiples of the denominators. I do not mind if you do not find a least common denominator. Just find a common denominator. That's as simple as it is. Remember that the least common multiple of two numbers is the smallest number, other than 0, that is a multiple of both of the numbers. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're talking about. First, we want to go ahead and compare 2/3 and 4/5. But let's find a common denominator for 3 and 5. It's as easy as multiplying 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, so that will be our new denominator. Now think to yourself, what did you multiply 3 by to make 15? And 3 times 5, so whatever you multiply the denominator by, you need to multiply the numerator by. 5 times 2 is 10. Next, we have 4/5. 5 times 3 was 15, so 4 times 3 is going to be 12. Now we can go ahead and place our comparison symbol into our problem, and your answer should be less than. Let's go ahead and try 5/6 and 7/10. Again, your book is suggesting you find a common denominator, and they want you to find the least common denominator. I'm okay if you do not find the least common denominator. If you just want to multiply 6 times 10 to get 60, sounds good to me. So we're going to go ahead and multiply each of our denominators, which is going to give us 60. And with 5/6, we multiplied the denominator by 10. Let's do the same to the numerator. 5 times 10 is 50. And with 7/10, we multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by 6. 7 times 6 is 42. Now you can use your comparison symbol. 5/6 is greater than 7/10. Here we have mixed numbers and we have decimals. With your mixed numbers, you are going to keep your whole number the same. Common denominator for 9 and 7, just multiply those two numbers together. 9 times 7 is 63. Since I multiplied 9 times 7, I must multiply 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. Now, place the whole number of 5 in front of that fraction. I multiplied 7 times 9, so multiply 2 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18, and again, place our whole number in front. Now we can write our comparison symbol. Just looking at your fractions, 14/63 is less than 5 and 18/63. When you have different forms of a rational number, you choose if you want to write them both as fractions or if you want to write them both as decimals. I find it's easier to compare when they are both in the form of a decimal. So I'm going to leave negative 44 hundredths as a decimal. Remember in yesterday's lesson, to change fractions to a decimal, you divide numerator divided by the denominator. 5 does not divide into 2, but if I add a 0, 5 will divide into 20 4 times. So that becomes a negative 4/10. Do they have the same number of digits following the decimal point? No, they do not. So our 4/10 is the same as 40 hundredths. Now, when placing your comparison symbol, please note both of these numbers are negative. So your answer should be less than, because the further away from the zero you move on a number line, the smaller the number is. To order fractions and decimals, you can either write them all in the same form and then compare them, or place them on a number line. Here we have four numbers: 14 over 4, negative 3 and 4/10, 6, and negative 2.5. These numbers represent the percentage of change in populations for 4 states. We're going to need to list these numbers in order from least to greatest. I'm going to start by plotting my decimals on my number line. Negative 3 and 4/10, positive 6, and negative 2.5. And now what I'll need to do is figure out what is 14 over 4. I'm going to go ahead and divide numerator divided by the denominator. And simplify. Now I'll go ahead and plot my point, 3.5, and we should now be able, so now we'll write our numbers in order from least to greatest. The smallest number listed was negative 3 and 4/10. Then we had negative 2 and 5/10. Then we had 14 over 4. Make sure that you write your answers using the original form of the number that was given. And our final number is 6. In the box provided, I would like for you to go ahead and try these 3 problems, and we will go ahead and discuss tomorrow.